Hi, welcome to the fourth episode of Chai and Charcha. And in this video, we'll be talking about how convenience culture is literally killing us. It's killing our capacity of being human, it's killing our capacity to do mistakes, it's killing our capacity to just live the lives that we were supposed to live. So, recently, a research has been published by the researchers at MIT. So, basically, what they did was they were studying 54 people and they divided them on the basis of three groups: one that was using ChatGTP, the other which was using Google, and the third which was using neither of the two. And the research that they find is very astonishing. They use the EEG to study the cognitive ability of the brain, and I think they did scans or something. I'm not familiar with the methodology. Conclusions that they were able to draw from this research was astonishing. The paper that they published is of 206 page, and these are the conclusions that they were able to draw from the research that they had done. So self-reported ownerships of essay was the lowest in the LL group and the highest in the brain only group, the LLM group being the one that was using the ChatGTP. The ChatGTP group also struggled to accurately quote their own work. While the LLMs offer immediate convenience, our findings highlight potential cognitive costs. Over 4 months, LLM users, which is the ChatGTP users, constantly underperformed at neutral, linguistic, and behavioral levels. These results raise concern about the long-term educational implications of the LLM's reliance and underscores the need for deeper inquiry into the AI role in learning. Basically, what it's trying to say in very scientific language is that ChatGTP and the constant dependency on AI is probably making us very dumb and lazy, and that we are not able to do the work that we were supposed to do by ourselves. So constantly need to take recourse to these conveniences that we would have otherwise been okay without. So that really got me into thinking about the convenience that we have in real life, especially in terms of the apps which have been available to us, such as Zepto, Blinkit, Big Basket, Zomato, Swiggy, etc. And I think I was very shocked when Zepto and all these apps made iPhones available, where people were willing to spend 56,000 rupees and get a phone immediately in 5 minutes. Me, the tipping point was when Manyavar was available on Zepto and people could buy wedding outfits in 5 minutes. My best friend is getting married, and I have seen the hassle it takes to curate a wedding, and just to get something in 5 minutes really irked me. I don't know why. So there are three inquiries that come into place when we talk about these conveniences that has been made available to us. One is, who is paying for the convenience that comes at us, right? So it is the people who are riding these bikes in, and sometimes even cycles, in hot scorching summer or even in rains, and they are delivering us the goods that we otherwise wouldn't like to step out of our homes to get. They are at the receiving end of a place where they shouldn't be. So there was this conversation recently around how we are using our cheap labor in our country. I was in college when we were doing this essay by Althusser, and he talks about how the people who are in power basically gives only limited funds to the people who do not have anything, just enough to keep them not only alive but also for them to procreate, so their kids can join in the work that their parents are doing. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of gig workers talk about how they don't earn enough even when they work 12 to 14 hours a day. All their work nothing. Basically, they get 50 rupees or 40 rupees for delivery. Basically, it's nothing. Basically, somebody else is risking their life, health, and everything, and they are being exploited by rich people so that they can be used for convenience. Another thing which I find very weird about the whole discourse of using Zepto and everything is, I don't know how many ration shops and kirana shops have been recently closed because of it, and I'm not blaming Zepto, Blinkit or Big Basket for it, but what I'm trying to say is that they have kind of mimicked the apps that we are very anyway comfortable in using, whether it was Facebook, it was Instagram, whether it was YouTube, in giving us a scrolling experiences of life, and we are able to add things things to the cart, where it limits our activity to be social. I mean, I couldn't agree more on the idea that humans are very social animals, and it kind of takes away the idea of going to the nearest kirana shop, interacting with the people, interacting with the shop owner, and it has taken away the sense of community which could otherwise have been used. The mundane has now become a task we have to avoid to be able to become more productive, and we are skipping the mundane to just be bored. It's not like we are doing something very important. It has just become a convenience, and we have just become lazy because of the convenience culture that has exploded in India, especially after COVID times. Of course, I am okay with the idea of having the essentials delivered at home from time and again, but when mundane becomes the inconvenience, then we really have a lot to worry about, because then where are we supposed to go? The main problems that I have with the convenience culture, which we are so accustomed to now, is where do we go? We are literally by ourselves. So I was going through reels, and then I saw my mother scrolling through Facebook and then WhatsApp. These three apps have become very similar in nature. That is a conversation for another video, but what I'm trying to say is that we are literally by ourselves, and our social medias has basically become echo chambers because of the algorithm and because of the way the technology has been placed or managed. It kind of sends you the reel that you are accustomed to watching. So if you like a certain reel, you will get a flow of the same kind of reel. So it has become an echo chamber in the sense that it affirms your belief in things. You're not very accustomed to not only the opinions of other people, but you have also become very intolerant because you're by yourself and there's nobody to kind of talk to you about things which could be very different from the way that you think. Yes, we have become very lonely. It is a very alienating experience. The thing that I would like to talk about how is that there are no third places in the world left. There are no places where people could just go and talk and have a conversation with, and basically because of convenience we have limited it to social media. There is no place which I can think of where I could go and sit with my friends. I still go to university to probably I can go to a university. For imagine somebody who's working, the only best option that I could think for them is cafes, and cafes are pretty expensive. So for somebody who doesn't want to spend much and the weather outside is not that great and you guys live far away, then what do you do? There has been this idea and surge where third places where people could go and have fun and have a conversation with and probably indulge in a chatter has probably left us. Another thing which I find very interesting is the idea of how all these apps have given us the idea of instant gratification. So instant gratification has now become a part of our lives, right? We order something, we get that in 5 minutes, we use that things in the next 5 minutes, and then what? Because we are so accustomed to instant gratification, people in my generation especially are having a hard time grappling with what to do with their time, because even something like hobbies, something like relationships, thing in life takes a longer time. Things take time, hobbies take time to develop, and because of instant gratification that these apps have brought, we have become very okay with the dopamine hit, and we sometimes feel at loss when we do not have that kind of emotional hit. And I think that has also become a very big problem amongst us. We are not able to sit in a place for a very long time. We have become impatient. People do not know what to do. I read somewhere that annoyance is the price that you pay for having a community, and we have been so reduced to our own homes, limited to our own screen. Only people that we hang out with is laptops, iPads and phones. We literally have nobody left. I think what instant gratification has also done is that it has reduced the capacity for tolerance, and I'm not even seeing tolerance in terms of tolerating other people, their opinion, their thoughts, their feelings, but also the idea that we are very quick in cutting people off. Like I said, annoyance is the price that you pay for being part of a community. So now we are cutting people off. At the end of the day, we are sitting in our phones, scrolling through all these apps which would deliver the goods that we need, and there's nothing left to it. We are a doomed generation, basically. Another thing which I find very interesting about the whole convenience culture is the idea of movies. So basically, back in the day, we had CDs, we had DVDs, which we had to put in these players, and then we could see the movies. Now we have Amazon Prime, and I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, and I found out that Amazon Prime has also now has two sorts of subscription. So one is the basic subscription through which you could watch movies, and then you have to pay another sort of money to be able to access those movies ad free. And then there is a third sort of subscription where these movies are on rent, so you could probably rent the movie to watch it once, and I think it is usually 50 to 120 bucks, and then you can watch the movie, and then subscription is over. Similar thing that happened with Spotify, right? Or any other music app. We pay a fee to be able to kind of own these things for a little time, right? So as long as you're paying for the Amazon subscription or the Netflix subscription or the Geo Plus Hotstar subscription or any of those subscriptions, you are able to access the movies that are on the app, but you technically do not own these kind of things in a physicality of it. The same thing is happening with, I think, Amazon Books, where in Kindle cannot share books now. I think you were able to do it back in the day. So now you don't own anything because of the convenience of having everything in place. So basically, when you buy a book, you have the hardcover of the book, and that book is yours. There's no subscription attached to it. But we cannot say the same thing about these apps. You're only accessing these movies as long as you're willing to pay a fees to be able to access them, but you do not really own these movies. So I think that is one of the things we have lost because of convenience, that our ability to own the kind of movies that we had. What is happening with Palestine, right? A lot of their movies, a lot of their books are being taken off of Netflix, and where do you watch all these movies? You do not own these pieces, you only own subscription to be able to access these things. So I think there is also a very interesting part about it, how convenience had made us lose our accessibility to not only culture but also the films, books, and everything that we are watching. Another thing which I find very interesting is the idea of what we see when we first search something on these apps, right? So that is also very curated. If they want you to buy a new product, they would thrust it upon you, and you wouldn't even know if they are doing that. I mean, it's pretty evident when somebody does it on your face, but through an app it is very difficult to kind of navigate whether that is happening because it is how it's supposed to be, or it is happening because they want you to buy a certain product. I know a lot of students now have started using ChatGTP to make their assignments. There's an all-time high rise of people who are not only not reading books, but they have no time, patience of doing anything that actually takes time. Writing is a habit, right? Writing is a skill that you build by actually writing and practicing writing. You cannot be good at writing in one go. I know people, what they're doing is that they are putting up books on ChatGTP and they're asking them for summary, and then they are using that summary to curate a prompt for ChatGTP to write and paper for them. So what are the people actually doing except for giving orders to ChatGTP? Effort that took into accessing resources or accessing books has just been gone. People are just giving commands to ChatGTP as if it is their assistants and making them doing whatever that they want. I also want to talk about the lawsuit which Apple had to recently face because Siri was hearing everything that people were saying. So what is interesting about the whole fact is now all these companies not only have access to the data of the things that we are buying, the things that we are purchasing, and what we are doing with those goods, but they can also access what we are saying, when we are saying, what are we talking about. So we are living in a constant state of surveillance where we are being tracked, we are numbers, and we are being tracked in every aspect of our lives. People don't understand it that when they give information to ChatGTP, whether it's about our education, whether it's about what you want to do in life, whether it's about our aspiration, it is actually being recorded. It is not a hollow black hole where the things that you put out are just gonna scatter. They are being all collected, and AI models are being trained to act the way that people do, and this is the data that has been used by these apps to be able to track everything that you do. Conclusion that I'm trying to draw here is that we are so dependent on ChatGPT for everything. Even on our apps like Facebook, Instagram, and everything, there is a AI tool available for it where you can customize the message the way you would like to want it. They have infiltrated in every part of our lives, and this infiltration will come at a cost of us being recorded and tracked in every aspect there is. What they are doing with us is they are taking away our ability to think, they are taking away our ability to do things that we were able to do by ourselves, and they are making us dependent on them. I feel as if we are not just training AI to accommodate us, but they are training us to be dependent on them. They are training us to not be able to do without them, and it is alarming, and I feel very scared even talking about it. I don't know what the future holds. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Bye bye.